Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where we honor the second half of life with wisdom, dignity, and practical insight. Today's episode begins not with advice, but with a question. A very simple one. What happens in the 90 minutes before you sleep? Not what you hope happens. Not what your doctor once told you to do. But what actually happens, night after night, in the quiet hour and a half before your head hits the pillow. For many seniors, that time seems harmless. Maybe you watch the news, scroll your phone, sip something warm, sit still and think. It feels like nothing, but what if it isn't? What if those 90 minutes are shaping not just your sleep, but your memory, your clarity, even the strength of your brain? Because new science, and ancient wisdom, say exactly that. In this episode, we revisit the timeless insights of Japan's oldest practicing physician, Dr. Shigeki Hinohara. Sharp, compassionate, and relentlessly curious until his passing at 105, Dr. Hinohara believed that the hour before sleep is one of the most sacred parts of the day. Why? Because it's when the brain transitions, not just into sleep, but into healing. So let's walk through what happens when we don't honor that window, and what changes when we do. Soft transition music. Let's begin with a truth few talk about. Most people don't do anything harmful before bed. They're not drinking heavily, lifting weights, or arguing loudly. They're just winding down. And that, ironically, is the problem. We've been taught that winding down is passive. That the brain will naturally power down like a switch, drifting from thought into sleep. But the aging brain doesn't do that. It doesn't shut off on its own. It loops. It replays. It clings. Unless you give it a signal. A clear, repeated signal that says, it's time to let go. Without that signal, sleep becomes shallow. Memory becomes cloudy. And the next day begins in a fog. We start thinking that's just aging. But often, it's not. It's overstimulation, right before bed. So what's happening in those final 90 minutes? The average senior is unknowingly feeding the brain what Dr. Hinohara calls chaos. This includes watching emotionally charged news, scrolling through social media, reading on backlit devices, sitting under bright, cool-toned ceiling lights. Each of these things may seem minor. But each one lights up the brain, visually, emotionally, and neurologically. They activate the very regions you need to quiet. Then you expect the brain to sleep. But here's the catch, the older brain doesn't process stimulation as quickly. It doesn't recover from chaos in minutes. It needs help. It needs guidance. And that guidance begins not in your bed, but in your environment. So let's look at how to create that. Soft chime. Step 1, light. Light is the language of the brain. It speaks directly to the pineal gland, the small part of your body responsible for producing melatonin, the sleep hormone. In traditional Japanese homes, fading light was part of the architecture. Paper lanterns. Shoji screens. No harsh bulbs. The home dimmed with the sun, and the brain followed suit. But today, most homes stay lit until the very moment you flip the switch. That's a problem. Bright overhead lighting at 9 p.m. tells your brain, stay awake. That's why Dr. Hinohara's first recommendation is simple, start dimming your lights 90 minutes before bed. Use table lamps, not ceiling lights. Switch to warm bulbs. Light a candle if it's safe. Let your environment start sending the signal, it's time to slow down. Step 2, stop feeding your brain. Just like your stomach needs time to digest food, your brain needs time to digest thought. But when you scroll on your phone, watch a heated debate, or even listen to fast-paced content, you're feeding your brain more input. More to process. More to loop on. The result? You may fall asleep, yes. But your brain doesn't rest. It keeps running, quietly, beneath the surface. And the next day, you feel it. You can't find your words. You forget small things. You feel slow. You call it age. But often, it's just that your brain never had a chance to stop. Step 3, let rhythm do the work. Dr. Hinohara believed the body craves rhythm. Predictability. Repetition. In his own home, his wind-down ritual was simple but consistent. He folded the same blanket the same way. He soaked his feet in warm water. He dimmed the lights at the same time. He walked slowly, not briskly. He avoided all screens for the final hour. Why the foot soak? Because warming the feet draws blood downward, away from the brain. It signals safety. It slows the mind. A study in physiology and behavior confirmed this. Seniors who soaked their feet before bed fell asleep faster and experienced deeper sleep. Step 4, lower the temperature. Sleep requires a slight drop in core body temperature. It's part of how the body transitions into rest. But if your bedroom is too warm, that drop can't happen. The sweet spot? Around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And yes, it's backed by research. Cooler rooms consistently improve sleep depth and quality. If you run cold, don't overheat the room. Use light layers. Or try the Japanese method, a warm bath before bed to draw heat outward. When you step out, your core cools naturally. And your brain begins the descent. Step 5, walk, slowly, after dinner. Just 10 to 15 minutes. Outside if possible. Not a power walk. A stroll. This fading light exposure helps recalibrate your circadian rhythm, your internal clock. It sends a final signal, the sun is gone. The day is ending. Pause, then soft ambient bed music fades in. So, what do all these habits have in common? They're not sleep hacks. They're not shortcuts. They're signals. Signals that tell the body, you're safe now. You can let go. Because here's the truth, your body can sleep. But your brain needs permission. And permission comes through quiet, rhythm, warmth, and light. If you forget everything else from today's episode, remember this. Sleep doesn't begin when your head hits the pillow. It begins long before. In the signals you send. In the rituals you keep. In the way you treat the 90-minute window before bed. And for those of us over 60, that window matters more than ever. Because the brain heals best when it feels safe. And safety, my friends, is something you can design. One lamp. One foot soak. One quiet walk at a time. This has been the Senior Health Podcast. I'm your host, reminding you that restoration isn't earned, it's invited. Honor the 90 minutes. And let your brain come home. Until next time, stay well.